That here, folks. Boris Johnson confirmed tonight that vaccine passports will be made mandatory at large indoor venues from next Wednesday. Of all the measures that have been brought in since the birth of the pandemic, it's arguably these that have struck the most fear into folk. The creation of a two-tier society based on medical status is nothing short of dystopian, in my view, and one man who's been railing strongly against them today is Reform UK leader Richard Tice, pointing to real-time evidence coming out of countries who already adopted these measures. Richard alleged on Twitter, vaccine passports don't work. Masks don't work. This government is not following the science. It is distracting people to cover up its lies and incompetence. And Richard joins me now. Richard, are you accusing Boris Johnson of essentially introducing these measures to distract from the political crisis he's in as a result of this Christmas party?
Good evening, Dan. And in a simple word, yes. There's no question at all that the Prime Minister has, in essence, completely ignored the science. And he's just brought this in as what they call in the Westminster bubble a dead cat, to try and distract, to take people off the scent of the real story. Today, it's hard to know where to begin with today. It's been utterly, utterly seismic. There's no question the Prime Minister misled Parliament last week. And to think that against all the evidence on vaccine passports, I mean, let's just look at Belgium, Dan, or Germany, or France, or Ireland. All of them have had vaccine passports, and their case numbers have gone through the roof, way ahead of ours, and we haven't had vaccine passports. So the science is clear. The vaccine passports make zero difference. Even Nicola Sturgeon herself, the guru of COVID, has essentially had to admit they make no difference. And we know that masks make no difference. If they did, then why would Germany be having more cases than ever when they've been wearing the special surgical N95 masks since January, Dan? So all the evidence is there. Vaccine passports don't work. Masks don't work. Why else would the Prime Minister have introduced these measures? And it seems from sources, he essentially completely bounced and railroaded his cabinet into accepting the introduction of Plan B with these measures, with essentially no debate at all.
Well, I agree about debate. I mean, it didn't happen. Sajid Javid dragged into the House of Commons, no vote on this. But Richard, what worries me most is that actually this is a slippery slope to something that I never thought we would see in the UK, a potential debate around mandatory vaccination.
It's unbelievable, isn't it? Supposedly the great libertarian himself, the very man that said if someone tried to get him to carry an ID card, he would grind it up, put it on his cornflakes and eat it. And just a few years later, far from that, actually, he's creating these cards and he's forcing us all to have them. It's utterly unbelievable. But the idea that we'd have mandatory vaccines, I knew something was wrong when Oliver Dowden went on the media last week, and he was asked by another broadcaster, will you confirm it's wrong and that the government will not introduce them? And you got that classic government spin. We have no plans to, which means basically watch this space. Within a week or two, it's coming in. I gave an immediate confirmation that Reform UK would never, ever entertain such a outrageous proposal. But yeah, the Prime Minister said, let's have a national conversation about it, having tried to say in the same conversation that he didn't want to do it. And this is the thing, isn't it? He says these words, that he doesn't want to do things. And if you believe the exact opposite of what he says, much of the time you'll end up being nearer the ultimate truth. And it's a terrible, terrible way for our country to be led. It's a terrible way for the people, all of us, to have confidence in the people who are leading us. And I don't know where this ends, Dan, but I think it's a very, very slippery slope.
Yeah,
and I think we have some dark days ahead.
We're going to a dark place. And one of the big concerns that I have, Richard, is that there's no real opposition. Keir Starmer is someone who I've branded for the past year, the leader of no opposition. Today, immediately, Labour just nodded this all through, not even a question. The Liberal Democrats, I'm sorry, they should be forced to change their name under the Trading Standards Act because there's nothing liberal or democratic about this party anymore. But the issue that you've got, Richard, is obviously you're not in Parliament. So surely if the Tories go down this path of mandating vaccination, your best hope is getting some of these disaffected Tories on the back benches who are freedom fighters to come and join you.
Goodness me. You must be reading into my mind, Dan. I mean, this is extraordinary. Have you hacked my mind? Look,
but is it going to happen, Richard? They have to have the balls to do it, don't they?
Yeah, look, of course, the reality is that they've all got, very cosy sinecures and a big 80-seat majority, and we know the next election is give or take a couple of years away. But the better Reform UK does on polls, on by-elections, then the easier it becomes for some very, very unhappy, very disaffected Tory MPs to say enough is enough, I'm done. And the best way that I can shape and influence and improve the direction of the leadership of this great country of ours is actually to move over to Reform UK. And look, I think it's a matter of when, not if. And let's watch this space, Dan. But this is a really serious moment.
Well, Richard, I think
I want this great country to do.
Sorry, you just finished your point.
We want this great country to go from strength to strength. But at the moment, we are slipping from weakness to humiliating embarrassment, and it's disastrous.
Well, look, all I was going to say is Boris Johnson may have just made your job a lot easier by opening the door up to mandatory vaccination, because that is going to send a shiver down the spine of the Tory freedom fighters on those backbenchers who have been doing a decent job in difficult circumstances. Richard Tice, leader of Reform UK, thank you so much for being here tonight.